The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Wednesday, it's hump day, and the day after the City Clowncil.
The Clowncil debate. 3 hours.
3 hours.
3 hours in finance. 3 hours. And part of that time was spent debating whether the tax factor should be 1.70, 1.72, 1.75, 1.74. Everybody had a different relationship to the tax factor. And here's Steve Long's position. Steve Long says, well, if we raise the tax factor a little bit, that equals a couple of bucks to the residential taxpayer, but it's hundreds of dollars to the commercial taxpayer. And that could damage businesses wanting to come to Fall River.
What businesses come to Fall River? You know that small business, big business comes here because they get tips and then they leave. And small business doesn't come here because nobody's got any money. Look, Steve Long is a shill. He's a clown. Newton, that has 2,000 less people based on the last census than Fall River, and has 10,000, that's right, 10,000 more businesses than Fall River, has a 175 tax factor. You're going to reduce the tax factor to businesses that sell their product outside of Fall River, because businesses are dying on a regular basis in Fall River, and we know that. And why are they dying? Because the taxpayers don't have a dime. They still haven't figured out that we have the lowest per capita income in the state. Nobody's got any money. 23% of the people are living below the poverty level. And this is, and these economic geniuses want to give their pals a tax break. Well, they got TIFs. They want a lower tax factor for those who do pay, and they continue to say this is what will bring business in. Well, guess what? We've had a lower tax factor than Newton for a long time. We're not Newton. Businesses stay in business by selling products, by having consumers. The city of Fall River, people are on the 99-cent, the dollar menus, and you're taking more and more money away. And the best one was, and you know, am I irritated today? Am I angry? Yeah, a lot angrier than normal. Because when they allow someone from Swansea to get up there and talk about our taxes and how we should pay more taxes, they should ask her what her income was. Then she says, oh, we've got to pay more taxes because we've got to take care of the junkies and we've got to take care of the homeless. Well, I think you need your head examined. Have you ever figured out that people in Fall River don't live in single-family houses like you do? I'll bet you. And I'm a betting man. I'll bet you live in a single family. And I'd like to see a W-2 form on how much money you make, because you're really good at spending our money. You actually came over the bridge to tell us and tell our government to take more money out of our pocket. Now, if we decide to build a methadone clinic and a couple of, Star wants to put in a satellite in Swansea, let me see if you don't show up at a town meeting with a pitchfork and a torch to burn your town council. But it's okay for Fall River to have it, because Fall River's the dumping ground. Let them pay, because there's only rich people and poor people, and nobody cares about the poor people. Nobody cares. And the fact that the City Council let us speak about that issue when she's not a taxpayer appalls me. You know, because all they like to do is hear themselves think. And if you really think that they give a damn, or give a defecation, because that's the more accurate word. If they give a defecation, just look at what happens nationally. We talk about how good the economy is. Everybody's saying, oh, the economy is terrific and it's wonderful. Yet, if you look at statistics, the wages for the working man have not moved a hell of a lot in the past decade or more. Is the economy great? Yeah, if you look at business. If you look at businesses, the businesses that, by the way, got a permanent tax break passed. Yours is temporary. Mine is temporary. Theirs is permanent. And what did they do with that permanent tax break? Did that stimulate, like we want to give these people a tax break, did that stimulate our economy? No. General Motors is laying off 8,000 workers. They're not closing the plants where they get cheap labor. You're not seeing that kind of loss when they have plants in Mexico and Bangladesh and all these companies that have global companies, and they never close their places where they can have virtually slave labor. But they're gonna get rid of 8,000 workers in the United States. Some of those people have been working I saw a guy that was working 28 years, has already changed places where he lived 3 times because they closed other plants. Do they care? I'll tell you how much they care. After those plant closings were announced, the stock market went up. Not down, up. Because you know what the stock market's about? Rich people. Rich people getting richer. And that's what they use as our barometer of our economy. Is the economy good? Yeah. If you're rich, if you own a business, come to Fall River. No taxes. We'll put it on the poor people. And then we'll lower your tax factor, too.
Well, you know, the thing that...
There's just no bounds. There's no bounds on how much they'll pick your pocket. And wake up, people. Wake up. Get rid of all of these people. Anybody that talks about giving you a residential tax increase without bringing the businesses up to pay their fair share, and their fair share, yeah, they're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars because they make hundreds of thousands of dollars more than you do. And they got buildings that are worth $100,000 while you're living in your apartment and your landlord has to raise your rent. Pay attention.
Well, what's interesting is, you know, they were talking about this tax factor over and over again, how the businesses, you know, can't afford $600 more in their tax bill a year. And one of the citizens, Richard Branco, came up and he says, look, if I'm in business and I can't afford $600, I shouldn't be in business.
Very good, Richard.
You know, good point, right?
Good point.
Right, but you know, here's the thing that they forget about, and you know, every one of them did. And Steve Long, you're the worst. Okay, most of these businesses have TIFs for $10 million or more, which means they're not paying $10 million in taxes. So who's got to pay it? The residential taxpayer. So we take the screw job as usual. And all of you, all 9 of you last night, because you felt pressured. Oh no, we might not make it so that he can get in front of the Economic Development Council in Boston. Too bad. You approved a TIF that you didn't even know about. You had no information on it whatsoever. None.
Why would you need information? All you know is you're going to give some rich guy a tax break, and he might donate to your campaign. That's all you got to know.
All 9 of them.
That's all you got to know.
All 9 of them, though.
That's all you have to know. Nobody cares about the people. And $660, was that what you said? $660?
Yeah, it's like $660.
Well, 600 and something. So let's look at this objectively. Let's do some math. You're living in an apartment and your rent goes up $20 a week. Well, let's say $50. We'll round it off. $50 a month.
Yeah, that sounds good.
$50 a month. So $50 a month times 12 months is what?
$600.
And you're making 22 grand because that's the average per capita income.
Well, it's not going to bother you.
But the businesses that are making $250,000, $500,000, $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, they're selling their $500 towels for Matuk. Let's lower his taxes. He sells $500 towels A towel, one towel is almost what he's going to pay in in a tax increase. But they want the people of Fall River to absorb some of the rent is, oh, it's only 220, oh, it's only this, it's only that, it's only pennies. Well, guess what? When you only got 5 pennies in your pocket, a penny is a lot of money. Let's give a break to the people who need it the most. Remember that passage I read from the Untold Story of Labor about what they said in the 1800s, what the rich people said? We're the rich, we own America. We don't care what party the politician's in. We don't care what office we hold. We own them, and we're never going to give up our control of this country. And it's shown again. 8,000 people out of work for General Motors. 8,000 people. And the stock market goes up. If that doesn't tell you something, people, pay attention. For God's sakes, wake up. Look at this council in action. Did they debate this much when they gave Mary Sahadi $40,000 for a pay raise? Kathy Ann Viveris, $20,000. Now I got somebody, and it's an allegation. We have to check into it. But I was told the other day that Jen Andrade gets a $10,000 snow stipend.
She does.
Ah, well, no wonder we have to get a tax increase. Oh, by the way, does she live in Fall River?
No, she doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Somerset.
Well, keep the $10,000, Jen. Don't worry about it. You don't even have to put in a couple of more dollars when they increase the poor people's taxes. Go over the bridge and spend your money. Nobody gives a damn. Nobody gives a damn about the poor people. When the hell is anybody going to wake up and clean that council out? I'll vote for Richard Branco. Okay? I'll give him a shot.
Hey, I'll give anyone a shot that has a different point of view.
Anybody that increases, anybody that lowers the business tax, I would like to see it increased. But anybody that votes to lower the business tax will never, ever get my vote. And I will work diligently to make sure they don't get reelected, because this is a travesty. Again, I mean, they just rub every time. I don't know how you're not blind. You watch the whole meeting.
Pins in my eyes.
I'm going to give you, just stick it in one eye. That way you can wear a patch. Because you're going to go blind after a while watching those meetings. Because I'll tell you, they are but New Bedford can pass a tax rate. New Bedford passed a tax rate, but Fall River can't. We got all our hand wringers. All the people in the industrial park, they give me money. And all the people I ask favors from. And maybe I can get my kid a job up in one of those places. Oh, God, if I don't lower his taxes, he's going to be mad at me. Yep, what a bunch of cowards. What a bunch of cowards. And if you want to take it personally, Steve, go ahead. Both Steves. You're cowards.
It's a shame that, it's come down to this, that, you think that some city councils are going to be different, and they're not. I mean, Derek Viveris came in. He's brand new. This is his first year on the council, first 2 years on the council, and he doesn't say 2 words. I could barely hear his votes last night. I mean, I'm going, what?
Yeah, he doesn't even know what he's saying. So he goes, blah,
right? So, but, like you were saying, New Bedford can pass a tax factor that's beneficial to the residents. 1.74. 1.7. It's not 1.75, but it's 1.74.
That's right.
And the one thing that Kathy Viveris kept saying yesterday was, with the city assessors, the taxes are going up anyways because we reevaluated the property and all the property values went up. So your taxes are going up anyhow. So unless you get a tax factor that's beneficial to you, i.e. 1.75, your taxes are going to go up much higher.
That's right. And guess what? Kadeem did remind them that we got a debt override to contend with that we didn't need.
That's right. He did, and he said it very clearly. He goes, we did not need that debt override. We could have used that $2 million in the backup account there, whatever they call it, the reserve account, and to offset the cost of the Durfee project. Yeah, but did they do that? No, they haven't spent a dime of that money.
They should give us free.
And what did Mary Sahadi say she's going to do with that money? She's going to use it to pay for snow removal this year.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, that should have been factored in, but who cares? But listen, you know, they should actually pick up the tab for anger management for anybody who watches these meetings, because you want to go postal. But let's segue into the mayor's interview on a New Bedford. He has to run
WBSM.
He has to go to New Bedford or do it on Facebook. He won't appear in Fall River because he's being vilified. So this is now, I'm not sure if it's a quote, but it is in quotes in this article. It says, Fall River Mayor Jazel Correa did a live interview on a New Bedford radio station earlier today. He told listeners of BSM's Barry Richardson, who, by the way, is a friend of Jazel. Barry is a supporter. Quote, "My job is being stolen away from me. So for people to expect me to just take it, I'm not going to allow that to happen." Well, guess what? Your job is not being stolen away from you. Your job, your bosses, the people, are going to vote as to whether you're going to remain employed. There's nothing millennial, Jazel the millennial, little baby, this is the way the world works. If you work in private industry and your boss wants you gone, you don't even get due process. He calls you in the office and says, beat it. You're fired. You think those people at General Motors had any say? GM said, yep, screw you. I'm going to send your job to Mexico. And they covered under this veil of we're going to reorganize and we're going to do this. No, we're going to make sure we can get slave labor and we make as much profit as possible for our stockholders, and so we can pay all our executives millions and millions of dollars and screw the working man. You think they asked? You think, yeah, we got to call all those people who got laid off and tell them that their jobs were stolen away. Because in their case, they were. Those jobs were stolen by people in third world countries, and I'm not blaming them because they want to eat too, but by this nation who allows these businesses to operate factories in these countries and lay off the people in this country. That's why we have no more middle class. That's why this country's economy is collapsing. And they keep saying it's not, it's doing well. Well, the global companies that can open up factories in other nations to keep their profit margins up are making huge profits. But look at how much the average wage earner in this country, check the statistics. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. And it shows how convoluted the mayor's logic is when he says, my job is being stolen away. No, it isn't. The people who initiated the recall are going through the process of allowing the people to see whether they want you fired or not. Nobody's stealing anything. If we have a recall, your employers, the people of Fall River, the people you work for, Emperor, are going to tell you whether you got a job or not. There's nothing wrong with that. You're getting your due process with the people. And to make a statement like that shows you total ignorance of the process, because this is ridiculous. You're going to fight to be removed from office? Well, yeah, you need to pay your rent. And you have every right to try that. But when people like you, who always want to whine about the process, and Steve Camara's in this too, coming out against the recall, the man who always pontificates about, oh, the Constitution, parliamentary procedure, the rule of law, fairness. You don't allow you're not in favor of, you don't have to be in favor of the removal of Jazel, but say you're not in favor of a recall process is anti-American. You're saying that the people don't run the government. You don't agree with the people being allowed to voice their opinion because they're trying to remove somebody that you don't want. You have every right not to vote not to remove them. You have every right not to sign that petition. But it is disingenuous at best and downright hypocritical for you to make a statement like that, especially you, the man who's always talking about, the process, Mr. Chairman, Point of order. You know, I object. I have a right. I have a right. I have a right. But the people don't have a right to have a recall. So, you know, forgive me if this stuff drives me crazy, because it
Well,
does.
and don't forget, Steve Camara is coming before the Zoning Board of Appeals to change his property zoning so he can put in more apartments and build a shed or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Jen Andrade is back to work, correct? I just got a text asking
Yes.
me, is Jen getting paid to stay home? But, you know, she is. Yeah, she is. She was it for a few days, but they brought her back, which then again raises another question. Should she be at work?
Right.
Because she was subpoenaed. So anybody that's involved in this, isn't that a condition of his bail?
Yes, it is.
That he's not supposed to have contact with anybody?
Right.
Didn't they just bring Manafort in because he violated the conditions of his bail agreement?
Yep.
Didn't they just walk him in again?
Yep.
But no, Jaisal can't do it. Jaisal has to complain. Remember, so the people, my job is being stolen away. Stolen away. It's like you run it. That's like the GM people. They should all stand out in front of GM headquarters yelling, "You stole my job. You stole my job." Well, actually, you did. You did. Their jobs were stolen by Mexican workers and people in, you know, just like people who's got manufacturing jobs in Bangladesh. Their jobs truly were stolen by these companies who are making massive profits. But, you know, it's a travesty because the people of this city just do not pay attention. And they let these people sit there and truly make that into you know, that is the Chamber of Horrors.
Yes, it is.
It's no longer a council chamber. When you watch some of the debate that we see that down there, it's horrifying. 3 hours because none of them have the courage to take a position.
To do nothing.
And then when they get a tiff, it's like, wham, bam, thank you. See you later. What do we know about this TIF? Nothing. Oh, don't worry. They're going to create 100 jobs. Yeah, really? And 98? Look, Amazon, we talked about Amazon a while back. They're trying to actively recruit people. So, you know, we got to give this, everybody's got to get a TIF. You know, and that's
the problem.
And that's baloney.
That's the big problem. Now, you know, Millstone Medical did acquire land. $475,000 worth of land. They acquired that from the RDA.
Yep.
Okay, that's almost a $500,000.
Yeah, which they probably got a really good deal.
Now, the thing is, though, this is just like Ocean State Job Lot that got a TIF. Okay, they bought the land first, then applied for the TIF. And they applied for the TIF late. It's not our fault. And there was going to be a motion, to refer it to Finance at the next City Council meeting. And Kathy Ann said, can you waive the rules so I can come down and speak? Oh, well, they've got to get this right away because on the 13th, they're going to be in front of the EADC or EACD or whatever the heck it is.
ABCD,
yeah, you know,
XYZ.
Yeah.
You know, another bunch
and
of
they
letters.
want to know what the local tax incentives are going to be.
And remember one thing, people, that tax is not, it doesn't like, we gave them a TIF, so that's it. No, it isn't. Guess who pays the taxes?
We
You
do.
That goes into our tax base. And when they get the 2.5, so they not only want to give everybody in the world a TIF, and then you can pay for those taxes, then they want to shift the tax burden even more to you and add a debt override on top. I mean, God, when are you going to get, you know, sick of this? And look, I know that people in an apartment, they're probably working, they probably never watch our show because they're probably working 2 jobs to try to just pay their rent in this city. They're living on peanuts. And those people don't get a chance. But somebody's got to find a way to reach these people and say, listen, this is never going to end. This city never stops giving pay raises, never stops spending money, and yet they're always complaining about that, and they're always giving the most to the people who need it the least. It is just infuriating. It's infuriating to me.
Now, I don't come out and support anything that Mary Sahadi or Kathy Ann says, but they did make a good point last night, and that was, and this was about the purple bags, that they produced a balanced budget without the revenue from the purple bags. And it was the city council, make it clear, it was the city council who refused and still are fighting to refuse to get rid of those bags. So when you see your city councilor, if you don't want those bags, tell them, I'm not voting for you because you want to keep these freaking bags. It's your fault. This is ridiculous. And that money is going to go into free cash next year if they don't use it all to pay for snow removal.
Well, we got $8 million in free cash anyway, so who cares? Let's add a little bit more. But the reality is, listen, let's make it clear, though, that Jazel himself could get rid of these bags.
That's right.
Unilaterally. So let's not forget that. You're right. The city council should, but unfortunately, nobody can take a position. And remember, ironically enough, there were some people who were against the bags that now they want to keep them. And Jazel, who was for the bags, is now against them, but he has the ability, both of those arms of government have the ability to remove the purple bags. And the thing that disturbs me about the purple bags, as you said, we've obviously got enough money to do it without the purple bags, but the thing that irritates me is that since this thing's been, since its inception, as I said, I know people who have never used a purple bag since this program.
Well, according to John Perry, there's a 92% compliance rate in the city.
Yeah, well, I must live on a street where
8% don't do it.
Where the 8% live, and obviously they've never been fined because I don't see any for sale signs or liens on those properties. So that's BS. And I'll tell you what, he's got me so aggravated about compliance. The next time on Barrel Day, I drive up Bedford Street and go by the two grinder shops and Columbus Park, those three-deckers that have got about eight recycle bins, and every single one of them is filled with plastic shopping bags, which we have to pay.
We got to pay extra
because they use it. I want to get out and take a picture, and we're going to put it on the air. So now you better get your people out there before the next one, John, because I'll be taking pictures. The next one, I will be taking pictures, because the last time I went by, every single barrel, not one of them, had just recycles as they're supposed to be. Every single one of them was not only full, but full so much that the lid couldn't close, and I could see a minimum of 4 to 6 bags above the top of the thing, all shopping bags.
And you know, this is the problem. Now, he said that they did a thorough audit. They followed the trucks.
Yeah.
They either went in front of the trucks or behind the trucks. And that's how they developed a 92% or 94% compliance rate.
And they were also saying at one time they had cameras.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, oh no, we never had cameras.
Right.
See, do we trust anybody that works for this city? Does everybody whose street totally complies, please send us an email. We'd like to list you, because I don't know anybody on any street that you can drive almost any street in this city and see something that's in violation of the current procedures. Whether it's in a recycle bin or a trash bin, I guarantee you will find someone not doing the proper thing. And most of those people have not done it since the inception of the program. And that's what irritates me. The law-abiding citizen has been taking this hit since the beginning, so let's get rid of them.
It's just craziness. It's just absolute craziness. And we're coming up to the end of our show. Just so you know, the pot companies have already sold $2.2 million in pot in the two facilities, and they're running out of product. People are going to be going crazy. They're running out of product.
Yeah, good. And see how many accidents and gateway drugs. See, now we're talking about addiction, and we're giving everybody, we're making drugs legal. Okay, well, if you do, make them all legal.
You might as well.
Make them all legal.
Just makes more sense that way.
You know something that'll cut down crime? Give them the heroin.
People won't be stealing.
They won't be stealing. They won't be breaking into your house to pay for their heroin anyway. So.
Or something. That's for sure.
What the hell?
I'll tell you. Hey, it's been a great show. I wish we could get into more. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay angry, people.
That's right. Always. See you Friday.